This is a message to all my supporters of this podcast. I'm introducing a new supporters program. You can contribute a small amount as a one-off payment to show your love for this podcast. Thank you in advance for all your contributions.
Hi, my name is Mark Hayward. This is the Absolute Business Mindset podcast. I am a corporate employee with an entrepreneurial mindset. And here are some of my thoughts, ideas and comments. So this is a couple of different pieces that I've attached together today. I want to talk firstly about starting a project. I want to then talk about how to prioritise your workload. And then thirdly, if you've got too much work, what you need to do for that. So let's start with starting a project. So at different times of your career, you'll be asked to lead a project, you'll be asked to be a team member. And the starting of the project is incredibly important. You need to start making definitions right from the start, whether it's something new that you're not really very knowledgeable on, or whether you have the knowledge and you need to define the milestones. You need to break down the project into different parts. So it's got to be different components, which are your stakeholders, your objectives, your milestones, what you need to do initially, and then sort of tasks and how you can break them down into things that can be delivered in the start, middle and end of the project. And at the end of the project, you also have to be able to lessons learned as well. So starting a project is incredibly important. It doesn't matter what level you are, you need to take responsibility for that project. And whether you're leading or whether you're a team member, this is going to slightly lead working in teams. So if you aren't the team leader, the project lead or whatever it is, I think you need to sort of just listen. But if you are the project lead, then you need to direct. And that is a distinct difference between leading a project and being a member of the team. But you need to be able to make these definitions. So the definitions are important because you need to be able to define what the tasks, what you need to be able to do to be able to deliver the project. So there's at the start, there's probably going to be assumptions, but you need to make a definitive about all of the terms, the terminology that's there, equally what each of the different areas that you need to cover means. So definition is incredibly important. You need to then be able to create a project plan, and that can be something in a Gantt chart, but it can equally be something you can do in Excel or even on a bit of paper, depending on the sort of level of the project is. You need to be able to create milestones. So milestones and tasks are important because the tasks are the steps you need to do. The milestones are the large points at which of the project that you need to be able to deliver. It is critically important that you're able to define and be able to work out each of those steps, because you can have the big project, which is deliver X, deliver a piece of software, but the tasks and the milestones are things that need to be broken down, that each of the tasks that need to be done by the different team members, so everyone knows what they need to do, and time frames is quite important as well, because that will help in a Gantt chart, because you need to be able to work out how long each of these different tasks are going to take to be able to do. So that's a whistle-stop tour of projects. I'll talk in more detail about projects at a later stage, I'm sure. The next point of this podcast I want to talk about is how to prioritise your workload. Now, let's just say you're a team member. Let's not say you're a lead on this, just for the purposes of this podcast. Now, you need to say you've got 4 clients. One of these projects is delivering a piece of software that needs to be done in a 2 months, 3 months time frame. At that stage, you need to be able to prioritise what your workload needs to be. Now, that can be various ways of being able to do it, which I've discussed before. One might be a to-do list, where you break down the things that you must do, the things that you should do, the things you want to do. And that gives you, if you do that every couple of days, might be every day, but it might be every couple of days, that really focuses your mind on what you need to do on that day. Equally, you might block time out of your diary to be able to deliver things. But it's important that you know what are the most important things that need to be done, and the things that need time frames, that have time frames. So you might want to be able to deliver something which is incredibly important, but it's a 3-week project. Okay, fine. You can take your time. You can leave to the last minute. There's various ways of being able to do it. But essentially, the biggest being able to prioritize your workload is deadlines. That's why I like deadlines to be set, because it means that there's an enforced time frame of when you need to be able to do things. So even if there isn't a formal deadline, I try and create deadlines myself, just to keep things ticking over. The important thing is, a lot of projects when you're in a corporate environment is to keep things moving, keep things ticking over, and don't have too many downtimes, that you're constantly trying to keep things moving along and keep things active. That is actually a skill in itself, being able to spin plates. Some people have described it as, you need to be able to make sure that you can deliver each of these different facets of what you need to do, and knowing when you need to do project A, project B, project C, project D, when you need to do them, when the deadline is, when you've agreed to work with other people. It might be that you need to sit down and review it with a colleague, and that might be Wednesday, and that means Tuesday afternoon you have to do it. So it takes some time. The whole idea of must do, should do, want to do, it is actually quite a good focus. So if you know there's things that you must do that day, it's like you can't leave until you do them. So that's incredibly important to be able to do. And then if you get through all the must-dos, then you do the things that you should do. And these are the things that you really would like to do, but they're not necessarily time pressured. So if you get around to them, then you can do. And then the want-to-dos are sort of like the last things that you just aspire to do, but it's not really that important whether you deliver it or not. So that is an incredibly strong, powerful tool that I think everyone should use. Brian Tracy uses an ABCDE method. I can't remember exactly the exact process, but it's essentially prioritizing things that are the A's, which are the most important, down to E's, which are least important. So that's an important to be able to prioritize your workload. And the thing that some of you might experience is if you've got too much work. So I can talk about specifically at this very moment in time, I have a lot of projects running simultaneously, and I've just been asked to be involved in another project, which is a marketing project, which is very interesting and very rewarding, and there's been good exposure to clients and people in the global team, not just the UK team. So it's been rewarding. But what I have found is that it's incredibly tough to be able to deliver all the different things that need to be done, because essentially I've got 4 projects which are running simultaneously, and what you do need to be aware of is no one likes someone who suffers in silence. So you do need to tell people that you're busy, that there's too much on your workload. Now, that's not necessarily giving anything up. That might mean that you just have to spend whatever it is, 3, 4, 5, 6 months working hard, delivering things, doing it. Equally, that might mean that if your workload is too much and you're not able to prioritize, and you're not able to deliver because the timeframes are too tight, then you might need someone below you, a junior, that you can work with, and they can do some of the tasks that you do and you manage them. That's the best scenario, if I'm honest. If you've got too much to do, they give you a junior that can help you do it. That would be, in most cases, the most preferred route. Now, that doesn't always happen. Sometimes it's not the staff, sometimes there's not the feeling that you need that sort of support. But you need to be able to make people aware, even if it's manageable, that there is a high pressure, high deadlines. There's things that need to be done, and it's tough. So I kind of use all these different techniques. I speak to people. I block things out in my diary. I also put things in the must-dos and should-dos and want-to-dos. So, and also I think about my projects and how I can sort of break them down into milestones and tasks. So within this whole expanse, which we've talked about today, is they all interrelate and they all make, and this is why I've put them all together, because I think it's incredibly important that if you start a project, if you're starting a new project, there's lots of things you need to do to be able to initiate a project and get it going. You might need to prioritise your workload and be able to make sure you're able to deliver everything that you need to do in the right order. And then invariably, if the workload is too big and you've got too many projects, you have too much work. And it's important that you vocalise that and share that with people, because the whole point of no one likes someone who suffers in silence. It's just a magic point in a working environment. No one likes a martyr. So you just need to be able to be clear, be concise, when you've got the right person's ear, then use it and speak to people. But equally, sometimes you just have to 10x it. You just have to do it. Work late, work hard, whatever it is, to be able to deliver those different projects. So hopefully you found that useful. It's a sort of using different skills, but they're all interrelated. I'm going to finish with, my name is Mark Hayward. I am my Twitter account is Mark Hayward 169. I've mentioned my Absolute Business Mindset podcasts. There is a private members group on Facebook that if you'd like to join, that's Absolute Business Mindset. You've got all my videos on YouTube. If you want to check them out, do Mark Hayward Coaching and you'll find them very quickly. So check out all the ways to get in contact with me, and by all means leave messages for my podcast on Twitter or Stitcher or Spotify. Thank you.